have Digital Journal here, possible deaths from H1N1 vaccine reported in Sweden. Then I have the actual translation of it here in my stack. People are dying. They're becoming paralyzed in the U.S., in Europe. People are refusing in many of those nations, even when France says it's mandatory. The news is reporting most French are refusing it. Here's another one. Boy rushed to hospital after swine flu jab. Belfast, that's out of Ireland. Belfast Telegraph, they're reporting that the doctors are saying it's the shot. They're announcing here in the U.S., the FDA is admitting it is paralyzing some people. That's been in the news. I wanted to get Steve Watson of prisonplanet.com and Infowars.net. He does a lot of original reporting at Infowars.net. I check it every day. Steve Watson to break down the latest developments on the flu front. Steve, good to have you with us.
Hi, Alex. Good to be back again. Yeah, I think, we should put it in context straight away. In Europe, there's been 230 deaths from swine flu. That's according to the European Centre for Disease Control. Half of those have been in the UK. So if you compare that to, up to 500,000 deaths worldwide from seasonal flu, kind of puts it into context. But yeah.
And 32,000 on the entire continent of Europe every year of regular flu, 36,000 in the United States. This is an absolute non-event.
It is so far, yeah. I mean, as you say, there's been because of this, there's been a pretty big backlash to the vaccine all over Europe. If we begin in France, yesterday, Le Monde, the biggest newspaper in that country, reported the latest poll there. Only 17% of people there are now saying that they intend to get it. It's being rolled out. Obviously, the first people to get it are the health workers and the frontline people, such as police and government health.
Well, let me stop you real quick, because people call me and say, you say 70+% in Europe aren't taking it, but then you just mentioned that it's even less than that. I just go off a few of the articles I've seen. Do you have the source in front of you of less than 20% saying they're going to take it?
Yeah, it was Le Monde, the French newspaper. It's the biggest newspaper in France.
Yeah, Le Monde is the biggest. So that's a headline right there. Did you say 17%?
17%, according to a poll that they reported on in France.
Okay, I want you to continue on this line, because I know where you're going. They're creating the Christmas toy phenomenon. Like, oh, there's only so much of this toy, so everyone rushes out and wants to get it. They're doing that here. They're going, people are angry that prisoners are going to get it first because they might spread it the fastest in their confined quarters, and police are getting it first. And then they have these whining women mainly on local radio, TV, saying, I want it now for me. And they show idiots lined up at the health department on the news this morning begging for, in fact, I sent you guys that clip from CNN. CNN National did a story on Austin with Margot Frazier, the former Harrod sheriff, up there talking about how wonderful it is. And then I heard the local talk show host yesterday morning say, how dare the prisoners be the first to get these? They need to be allowed to get the flu to punish them. So now torture's good. But again, the idea that everyone's fighting to get it when that's not actually the case. Sorry, Steve, go ahead.
No, it's not at all. Because if you compare this, people are not buying it anymore, and it's becoming more and more widespread. If the 17%, if you compare that to 6 weeks ago in France alone, still in France, it was 55% that said they were going to get the shot. Now it's only 17%.
So we've done a super job. We have no doubt saved, because these are soft kill weapons. They take sometimes decades to kill you, and that's in their own documents. We have potentially, the listeners of this show, make no mistake, we're the biggest thing out there fighting this, probably millions of lives, Steve. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just us either. There's throughout Europe, there's
doctors.
France, there's these 9 people that have filed a lawsuit against the government, saying that it's a campaign to poison the population. That may go to court. You've got these people, these health workers involved in it, talk show hosts in France involved in it, and it's all over Europe as well. I mean, if you go to Germany, the the numbers there are even lower. It's like 13% say they're going to get it now, compared to over 50% a few months ago. You've got 60 in this poll that was reported on in the German media, the latest one. It was reported by AP, at the German office of AP. 66% of Germans saying they categorically won't get the shot, and 85% saying that they think the whole thing is completely exaggerated. And obviously that has arisen, particularly in Germany, because of the uproar that's been created by the fact that the Chancellor there and all the ministers, as well as the army, are receiving a different vaccine to the rest of the population. As reported in Spiegel and also Die Welt, two of the biggest publications in Germany. Basically, the whole population there, the people, are getting the GlaxoSmithKline vaccine, which has got the additives in it and the squalene, the adjuvant, whereas the government and the army are getting a different vaccine that hasn't got any of that in it. So that's prompted people in Germany to just say, hold on a minute, what's going on? Why have we got this two-tier medical system where the elite are getting a completely different vaccine which doesn't contain any of the additives?
Well, Steve Watson, can't people put two and two together when government officials and the army won't take the shot that the public's being given, and they have a special shot for themselves, the supposed green vaccine, especially when there's all these government textbooks about how they want to sterilize us with the vaccines, and then the vaccine insert of all 5 major variants states that it can sterilize you. I mean, the good old folks at New Silver Solution, and the website is supernaturalsilver.com. Supernaturalsilver.com. This is something that kills bacteria, viruses, you name it, well documented. They've got it down to a super small nano-sized particle. Supernaturalsilver.com. Check them out at Infowars.com. Supernaturalsilver.com. The biggest thing the social engineers have over us is that what they do is so outrageous. Private banks change the rules where they can create unlimited derivatives. They make money on the way up, on the way down. They steal 50+ trillion and growing worldwide, right at 24 trillion in the U.S. and counting. And then they pose as the saviors and say, let us take over all businesses and corporations. We'll fix everything with a private financial dictatorship, when they are the ones that did this. It's the same thing with the flu. They openly get caught putting cancer viruses in the polio shots. The federal government admits in the U.S. alone, hundreds of millions got cancer from it in the last 60 years. This is public. Your mother, your father, writhing, dying. Good chance they were killed by the cancer viruses. This isn't funny. This is life and death, folks. These people will kill you dead in a hammer. They want you dead. You got it? But it's so outrageous that the inserts of the vaccines, got them here in my stack, I'm going to pull them out, state that it has mercury, states it can brain damage you, states it can sterilize you, states it can give you autoimmune disorders. Now, the FDA is admitting all of this, but quietly in their own publications. The news says it's all a big conspiracy theory, but the good news is, Steve Watson, in Europe, in New York, where they ordered all the medical workers to take it, they said, hell no. And then they had to suspend it. So the good news is they're trying to force this medical dictatorship on us, but the word is now out, Steve.
Yeah, if we go back to Europe, health workers in Germany have said in the mainstream media that there's an open rebellion amongst general medical professionals and physicians. They're charging that the health authorities are colluding with the pharmaceutical companies to push these unsafe versions of the vaccine on the general public.
Well, they're not charging it. There's been thousands of articles in the last decade done on the regulators in the federal governments of the West are all revolving door with the vaccine companies and all hold stock in it. And consultants on the U.S. board that made the decision to do it, it turns out all of them are currently on the payroll of the vaccine makers.
Yeah, I mean, it's widespread all over Europe. You've got 30% of health workers in Denmark said that they're not going to get it. All the first-line eligible health workers don't want it. You got 2/3 of nursing staff in Holland saying they don't want it. All these figures are broken down in 2 separate articles that I've done in the past few days, which are on the website entitled "Mass Rejection of the Vaccine in Europe." 2 different articles. If you go to Ireland, you've got a situation there where the nurses are having to administer it because the doctors are just refusing to do it.